Hi, my name's Paula Temple. I'm a techno producer for R&S Records, and I'm here in my studio today about to show you how I made elements on my track called Colonized using Live 9 and Push. It was really interesting when I got hold of Live 9 and Push because my ideas for techno had evolved. I knew I wanted to make more sparse, stripped down, raw sounds. But at the same time, I wanted the attitude and the energy of the track to be strong. With Live 9, the big contribution to my sound was really in the audio effects, the newly built EQ8 and the compressors, and particularly the glue compressor. So first I'm going to introduce the track, the final version, which is here on the arrangement page. But here I'll put it as session view on the push. I'm just going to quickly go through the channels and then I'm going to explain the audio effects of particularly of Live 9 to really get my sound to be big and spacious. So first of all, here are all my channels here at the top. And I can select which channel I want to start using. So I've got this lit up just a bit more. And then along here are all the clips of that channel. So here I've got my hats, and I can select my hats just here. So I've got a range of hats just there. Okay, so just by viewing those hats on the screen, you can just see here. I'm going to show you what I did with the hats. So I'll just pause that for a minute. So what was really handy is being able to search in Live 9, go through all the samples. So by selecting in the browser here, the range of hats, all the drum parts, but I could search for hats just in there, or just hat. And then I could preview here and just drag and drop what hats I wanted just there. So having selected my hats, I could arrange them using the push. So I've got my range of hats all here. Okay, so I can see which one's being triggered off just there. So I've got my 909. Okay, you can see the length of the loop as well. So if I wanted to make the loop longer, I'm going to keep it just to this one. So I can see the arrangement, the sequence of the hat pattern just up here. And if I wanted to arrange again, maybe I want to do an arrangement in the second part, or maybe the third, just here. I can select this and hold down repeat. Oh, record. It's actually drawing it in for me. So I've got some hat patterns just recorded in there. But what's really interesting about the hats, if we just look at the session view just here, on the channel itself, I selected this really good audio effects rack, which Live 9 has got ready for me here in the browser. So if I go audio effects, audio effect rack, just here, and then go into mixing and mastering, I picked out, some of these are really, really good, but this combination here, bringing that in on the hats, I was able to saturate the hats in a very kind of techno way that I like. But what was really interesting, if you just listen to this, you can see the compression just there, which is sidechained. In fact, I'll go back to the original pattern at the top. So you can really hear it there. But if I take the sidechain off, You can hear how messy, how splashy it is. Putting the sidechain back on, and the sidechain, what this is linking to the audio of the one of the kicks. So by taking the audio from the kick, every time the kick punches in, which you can see here in grey, it will duck the hat and compress it, and then the hat will come back up, which you can see here. So it's being driven effectively by the kick, and it's just really great. So I can visually see this. When the kick drops out, you can see here. So the hat is being affected a bit differently. And then when the kick comes back in, which you can see here, the hat is being compressed even more. Another thing that I like about Live 9 is its newly built EQ, which I can demonstrate on the snare just here. So if we go to the first snare, just here, you can see on the screen I've got another rack under the mixing and mastering. So I find that here, drag that in here, and it's got the EQ and a glue compressor in its rack. Now, when we hear the snare, in fact, if I just solo it, just there, so you can hear it by itself. The EQ, you can actually see the frequencies that's going on. If I were to turn this off here, this low cut ×4, you can hear how much bass is actually going on down here. I don't want that at all. I want to remove it so I can have space for my kick drums and tom to really dominate that frequency spectrum. So by cutting them out, I'm still keeping the main character of the snare just here. And also with the glue compressor, which I've got here, if I turn that off, not as snappy and not as full sounding either. So I want it to give some real punch. And just by tweaking around with some of the settings in here, it's really easy just to get that kind of bigger, fuller sound for the snare. And then with the snare, I wanted more body in the middle, but I wanted that through an extra layer. So I wanted to distort this snare and put it on an extra layer just here, which you can see snare smash. So what I then did, add a few more effects just here, ready to go. So if I have to turn these on, start to play this, okay, I can see these here, so I can turn these on. And I can select, say, this distortion, and I can see the parameters for the distortion just here. I can start to tweak these about. Brilliant. So once I've got a sound that I'm happy with, I can then just record that onto the next channel, which I've got ready to go. As you can see on the screen here, I'm selecting my audio from the snare tribe that I'm on at the moment, and then I'm going to record the copy just here. So if I go back to the session, to the track just here, I find an empty clip slot. So any of these that are in red, I can record on. So I can record just there. It's now recording, and then I've got it. So I hope I've given you a bit of an insight into how I created my drums, and hopefully it's given you a bit of an idea how you could go about your own productions if you want to keep it stripped down but at the same time very big sounds.